Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is our year to shine, and I just wanted to do a quick wrap-up video about Brene Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection that we've been reading this month of March 2021. And I shared with you that I had read this book maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, and I'm really glad that I did revisit it this time. I think this was even a more in-depth study of it, bringing it to the channel and talking to you guys about it, than the book club that I did on it before. And of course, we're all different. Even a year ago, if we read it then, things would be different too. So I hope you got something out of it. I just wanted to do a little summary of each of the guideposts that we talked about now that we've done all of them. So number 1 was cultivating authenticity, and along with that, letting go of what people think. And don't you find that one so interwoven between all the guideposts? Because the perfectionism was kind of about worrying what other people think. The last video on the laughter, song, and dance was worrying about what other people think. There's also that in terms of giving yourself the play and rest. You might be setting yourself to this bar of what other people think of you and how hard you're working. Number 2, cultivating self-compassion, and that was the one about letting go of perfection. Yeah. Number 3, cultivating a resilient spirit, and we learned about what people that have resilience have that other people don't. And with that, we talked a lot about the numbing behaviors that could potentially turn into addictions if it's something like you're trying to escape feeling or facing things. And then we discussed the powerlessness and the way that spirituality is so integral to this one, because if you have a sense of all of us being connected and there being a reason for being here, or an ultimate goal, I guess, then that would play into your resilience, of course, right? Cultivating gratitude and joy. That's a lot of what this channel is about, with Sarah Ban Breathnach's principles from last year's journey. And with that, letting go of scarcity and fear of the dark. So we did talk about in the shame entry, or the shame discussion, that having resilience in terms of that is actually facing it and sitting with the things that are difficult and working through them and then letting them go and not letting them haunt you. So if you're just afraid to face them, then they're going to become worse. And she called them gremlins in this book. And number 5, cultivating intuition and trusting faith, again with the spirituality, but mainly letting go of our need for certainty. So getting comfortable with a little bit of unknowing, uncertainty, that can be difficult, right? Cultivating creativity, which means you have to, again, let go of what other people think. So letting go of comparison. So also letting go of what you think of others as well. And I know that one I've been really trying to think about how I can bring some more creative pursuits into my life, because I've definitely been lacking in that. Cultivating play and rest. I also feel like I need to make that more of a priority. And we talked a lot about letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. Just working and working and working, and maybe the only thing that you get any sort of positive feedback in is your work. So then it almost becomes a numbing thing where you're not even living your life because you're working so hard, and then you're almost working to avoid facing maybe how unhappy you are, or things about yourself that you don't want to face, or you're not dealing with issues that you know you have. And we talked about cultivating calm and stillness and what that really looks like. It doesn't have to be sometimes what you think of with meditation. It can be things that just calm your mind and put you in a state of stillness. And letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle. Those two, 7 and 8, were very close to each other. Number 9, cultivating meaningful work. So doing things that you love and trying to even bring those into your work, even if it's not the main thing that you're doing for your job. And in that one, that's letting go of self-doubt and the things that you're supposed to do and following your heart. You talked so much about that last year. And number 10, cultivating laughter, song, and dance. Letting go of being cool and always in control. So that would be, again, like the uncertainty. Who knows what you're going to do when you get out on the dance floor? It's not really very certain. So Brene has a quick little final thoughts section of this book. And I was thinking about it in general, and I was thinking, do you think it's actually named correctly? Because do you feel like we really learned what the gifts of being imperfect are? I mean, she talks about how this is the guide to wholehearted living, and I believe that. I don't necessarily think that we talked a ton about what the gifts of being imperfect are. I mean, we did talk about letting go of perfectionism. So I don't know, I was thinking about the name of this book, and I hadn't really thought about it the last time I read it. I think the Guide to Wholehearted Living is appropriate because she told us all about her research and what she found were qualities of people that were living in this way. But I don't know if I'm walking away from the redo of this book with embracing why I should find my imperfections gifts. I appreciated all the shame talk in the book. She does say let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. So perhaps in that way, if you think you're supposed to be perfect, maybe she's saying by the title, The Gifts of Imperfection, she's saying that there's more gifts on the other side of letting go of all these things that we were cultivating in each of the guideposts. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I don't know if you were reading along with me, so it might be hard to give it another title if you were just going by my videos. What are you doing? She's showing off again. That's my kitty, Annabelle. She's running all around. I do like how she says in this closing part that she doesn't think of this book so much as a self-help book. It's more of an invitation, and just like the book Enough that we read in January, where that author, Christine McCammon, no, not Christine, Lori McCammon? I've forgotten her name already. I feel bad. I know it was McCammon, but you remember in the Enough book, that author was telling us about how she was trying to change the world and have us live in this way where there is enoughness and everybody knows this. Well, Brene is also trying to start what she calls a wholehearted revolution. A small, quiet, grassroots movement that starts with each of us saying, my story matters because I matter. A movement where we can take to the streets with our messy, imperfect, wild, stretch marks, wonderful, heartbreaking, grace-filled, and joyful lives. Okay. So in that one, she's bringing in the imperfections. A movement fueled by the freedom that comes when we stop pretending that everything is okay when it isn't. That's true. If you're numbing right now, then you're not acknowledging it. A call that rises up from our beliefs when we find the courage to celebrate those intensely joyful moments, even though we've convinced ourselves that savoring happiness is inviting disaster. Revolution might sound a little dramatic, but in this world, choosing authenticity and worthiness is an absolute act of resistance. Choosing to live and love with our whole hearts is an act of defiance. What do you think about that? Just because a lot of people are not living that way? You're going to confuse, piss off, and terrify a lot of people, including yourself. One minute you'll pray that the transformation stops, and the next minute you'll pray that it never ends. You'll also wonder how you can feel so brave and so afraid at the same time. At least that's how I feel most of the time, she says. Brave, afraid, and very, very alive. That's like in the last entry where she said that the world needs people that are alive. So when I think about this book, I definitely think about the things that I want to change after revisiting it, trying to add more layers to my life. I can appreciate the resilience part of it right now in my life, and the talk again about shame, and really just admitting to you guys that that's a huge issue for me. I've known it all along, but it really hit home this time. So again, I'm still choosing a book for next month, but I will come to you with that soon, and I do plan to switch gears to another topic so that it's not so heavy, but it'll definitely be tied into the simple abundance principles that this channel is founded on. So thank you as always for being here. Please say hello. Annabelle would love your fandom as well, or her fandom, for appreciating her fandom. And I will see you on the next video. Love to you all. Bye-bye.